This video is sponsored by the Excelsior Sporting Club, Lion Paw Security Services, and Sigma Sports Management.
I'm Lyndon Dixon. Today we're joined by British prospect Red Johnson. Red, how you getting on, mate? You all right?
I'm all right, pal. Yourself?
Yes, not too bad. I want to go right back to the beginning, mate. Tell me about you. How did you first get into boxing?
I've always been a fan of boxing, to be honest. Even from being a kid, watching films and watching it on telly with my dad and things like that. My sister actually boxed before me. She got into training before me, and I used to like playing football. I were a little footballer, and I just started going to boxing gym for fitness, to be honest. And it went from once a week to twice a week to next thing you know, I packed in football. I was training. I wanted to box, and that were it. I've always wanted to box since then. So yeah, it just took off from there.
But at what point did it go from right? I'm doing this to lose a bit of weight to I'm doing this because I love it to this is my job. But at what point did that transition happen? When did you know boxing was for you?
I started boxing when I was about 8 years old, and I think I'd say about 10 years old. I thought I wanted to be a boxer. I didn't have my first amateur bout till I just turned 13. But we always knew, like all my coaches and things like that, we always said you're going to be better suited as a pro. And I never really got on with amateur boxing. I'm never a big fan of it. I took it seriously and things like that, but I was never a massive fan of it. And then I've always wanted to turn pro. I've always wanted to be a professional boxer, a professional athlete, and I've stuck with it, and here we are. So yeah, I'm just enjoying the journey.
Exactly, but that's the thing with some boxers in the amateurs, they either love it or not hate it, but dislike it. Because, like you say, the pro style and things like that. But how happy were you when you turned over? Because I think I've seen a post or something saying that you had people calling you when you turned 18 saying, right, when are you turning over? And here we are a few years on. So what made it the right time to turn over a couple of years ago?
To be honest, I had a couple of bad hand injuries when I was 19, 18, 19, and that put me out for like a good 18 months to a year, to be honest. I was still training, but I couldn't compete. My hands went 100%. I ended up having to have surgery on them both. So at the time, obviously, all I wanted to do was turn professional 19, 20. I wanted to turn. But looking back, it was probably a blessing in disguise. I fight at the same weight now. And obviously, I'm a man now. Back then, I were a kid. So that was kind of a blessing in disguise. And then we got back onto amateur scene. I had some good fights with some decent level kids. Won some, lost some, how amateurs go. But the goal was to turn pro. And then we kind of arranged everything to turn pro. And then COVID came. So that put me back a couple of years. As soon as COVID finished, we were like, right, we need to get cracking now. And that's what we did. So yeah, like in my world, it'd be 4 or 5 years ago. Bought everything for a reason, and I've been pro just over a year now, 18 months. So you just have to take it as it comes.
Well, you did get cracking. Talk to me about that debut. It was on a decent card at the DoubleTree Hilton Hotel in Sheffield.
Yeah.
You only get one debut. Talk to me. What was it like? How'd that night go?
Oh, it was brilliant. I don't cut corners with training or anything I take seriously. And I put a lot into that. I had brilliant support. It was live on telly. It was my debut, and I was headlining the show. It's kind of unheard of. And that feeling, like it was when people say you only get one debut. Like I had Spencer Oliver night before saying to me, because he was on broadcasting team, and he was saying to me like, just cherish it. You only get one debut. And like my coach at the time, Regan Denton, was like, you will never forget this moment. Cherish it. I had Adam Etches in corner. He was buzzing himself. I can remember him saying to me like, I can remember my debut. I'm buzzing for you. Like, just enjoy it. And as soon as I walked out, my music started playing and things like that. It's something I'll never forget. So yeah, and performance were good against a tough journeyman. A lot of people were saying, it's a tough journeyman for your debut, but I kind of everyone knew around me knew what level I were at and what level I can be at. So it was good, a nice performance for my debut. Everyone enjoyed the night. It was loud. It was televised. It was perfect debut.
Well, fast forward to now, you're 3-0. You haven't lost a round yet in your pro career.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how that journey's been so far, because, like you said, been pro a year, 18 months. How's that journey been so far?
It has its ups and downs, you know. I mean, I don't lie about things. I don't sugarcoat things. It has its ups and downs, you know. My first camp for my debut went absolutely perfect. Nothing were hindered. Everything, sparring were bang on, strength and conditioning were bang on, diet were bang on. Absolutely perfect. I started my second camp for my second fight, and 2 weeks before I was due to fight, the show got cancelled. You know, that's a hard one. When I'd done 200 tickets, and then you're like having to explain to every single person what it's like, you know, all that hard work, all that money, because it costs money, you know, and that was hard. And then we got straight back into camp after a few weeks for replacement date for my second debut, you know, and it were a hard camp, to be honest. Like, everyone says like, oh, you know, you should be enjoying it at this stage, but I take everything that seriously and I do everything to a T that much. It took it out of me. It was like I'd done a 9-week camp for a 4-round fight. Do you know what I mean? I were already sparring 6 rounds before I'd started camp, so you know. But again, good performance. Same. Everyone enjoyed the night. I think that's the big thing for me. Everyone enjoying the experience, enjoying the night. You know, and then I injured my hand a little bit after that fight, so I had to delay my next fight. You know, and then as soon as camp started, I was fine. You know, you have your ups and downs, but overall, I would say I'm enjoying it. You know, at least it's not like amateurs where you're putting it in, and then it's like, right, you might get robbed tonight. You might win every round, but you're not going to come with decision. You know, you're getting paid for it. These people are professionals, so yeah, it's what I thought it would be. I've been around the game a long time, and I'm just taking it all on board and enjoying it.
But next up, you're on a massive card in about, I think it's 4 or 5 weeks' time from now, headlined by Reece Mould and Martin McDonough for a Continental title. Then another cracking fight between Emma Dolan, Nicola Hopewell for the Commonwealth. And you're on there as well. How does it feel to be on such a great British boxing card?
Yeah, great. You know, we're in Sheffield, so
hometown.
Like, yeah, hometown. They couldn't not have me on the show. You know, I do the tickets, I perform, I entertain people, and that's what they want. That I know I've known Izzy a long time. I used to go to Izzy's fights. I've known him a long time, and he's an entertainer. And you know, that's what we try and do. And yeah, it's a great card to be on. There's a lot of local prospects on it, and there's some future champions on that show. You know, other than 2 title fights, obviously, but there is some future champions on that show, and it's going to be a great show. 6 weeks today. From what I see on Instagram and social medias and people I've talked to, everyone's training hard, so I don't think the people coming are going to be disappointed at all. I think it's going to be a great show.
Well, 2 questions. Is there any news on an opponent yet? I know we're a little bit of a way out. And secondly, how's camp going? Because I'm sure, like you said, hometown, you're going to be excited.
Yeah. No news on an opponent what I know of yet. You know, I mean, like we're saying, these ups and downs. Every fight I've had, the opponents have changed every fight. I mean, my second fight, I think I had 6 different opponents in the space of a week. Like it was literally crazy. Like 1 minute, it was like, right, you're boxing this kid. He's 5'8", is a southpaw. I was like, fine, and like, no. Now you're fighting this kid. He's 6'3". He's 110 by knockout. He's an orthodox, but you'll be all right. And then you're like, right, so you focus on that. And then you're like, oh, you're boxing this kid now. He's just going to stand in. He's tough, and you know, so. I don't look too much into opponents at this stage at the minute. You know, I think 2 or 3 weeks out, I should know for definite. But we're just training for everything we've got. I've just moved up to Engles Gym. I had my first 3 fights with Regan Denton at the Hood in Sheffield. I've just made the move up to Engles Gym a couple of months ago, 2 or 3 months ago. So everything's new to me at the minute. I'm learning every day. I'm enjoying camp. Training's hard. It's hard in comparison to what I'm used to. I'm not saying that it weren't hard up there, but it's completely different kind of training. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. While I'm learning, I'm enjoying it, and getting great sparring and things like that. So it's all looking positive. We're on track. 6 weeks out, we're on track.
Well, how did it feel moving to the Engles Gym? Because I mean, he's a great trainer down there, and there's some cracking fighters in the gym as well, including
Yeah.
yourself now. How did it feel moving down there? Did it feel like a bit of a step up? No disrespect from before.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I've always gone up over the years, probably for the last 3-4 years, sparring with people. They've had me in for sparring with different people, whether it's been amateurs or pros. So I've kind of known the gym anyway. I've known Dom through going up and sparring. Obviously, I know the pros up there from going up and sparring and things like that. And when we made the move up, it just feels like home. To be honest, it feels like home. It's a good feeling. I don't feel uncomfortable up there. Everything feels natural. We're just enjoying the process. The good kids up there. You got Dom, Luca, John, Carl, who are doing training and things like that. And obviously you got your pros, Brad, Sobe, Kel, Kid. The amateurs like Sam. They're just nice kids, and it's good. It's good to be around.
Well, moving on from that a little bit, I just want to talk to you a little bit about ambition in boxing because, yeah, you're early on, you're 3-0, fingers crossed soon to be 4-0. But at the end of the day, when you're sat with your grandkids, what do you hope to get out of boxing? What do you hope you can tell them?
That I was entertaining. People always enjoy coming to watch me fight. I know I've always known, like, it's hard to say this without sounding big-headed. I've always known that I'm good at it. If I weren't good at it, I wouldn't do it. If I genuinely didn't think I couldn't do anything in this sport, if I didn't think I couldn't win titles, have big nights, fight good people, I wouldn't be in the sport because I'm very much anything in life. If you're going to try and progress in it, you need to give it your all. And I think I want people, in 10, 15, 20 years, whenever it is, to look back and say, it could fight. It could fight, it could box, it was tough, it was entertaining, it was slick. That's what I want them to say. I don't want them to be like, oh yeah, you used to do a bit. I want them to be like, no, you were a good kid, I want to be able to show those photos and those videos and say, this is what I used to be able to do. So yeah, I just want to entertain people and give them good night, give them good time.
Well, talking back to when you was a kid, I was just wondering, growing up, being a big fan of boxing, who were those fighters that you used to look up to?
You've got your big names. Like my favourite of all time is Roy Jones. I love Roy Jones. I think great fighter. In his prime, he was a great fighter. Even out of his prime, he was a good fighter. But you know what I'm saying. But I always looked up to the people. Obviously, Sheffield's a big place for boxing. I always looked up to the people around here, and the gym I trained at when I started boxing, we had his own world champion. We had Clinton Woods training out of there.
Yeah.
And he's very underrated as one of British top fighters of all time. And as a kid, I used to sit and just watch him train. After I'd trained or before I'd trained, I'd just sit and watch him train. I think he's a tough man. He puts it in, like he wears his heart on his sleeve. But he's a better boxer than people think. He's clever. So I always looked up to Clinton, and then obviously, going through my teens, you had people like Kel, who were just like, a lot of special nights.
Yeah.
Even up to recently, a lot of special nights. More recently than that, like Kid Galahad, a very technically good fighter. People like Ryan Rhodes, who great fighter. I spar one of his pros quite a lot, Ricky. A very special fighter. And people like Buster Keaton, he was cruiserweight British champion. Those are the people, and I know these people, and it inspires you to think, I could be what they are. I could do what they've done, and it's everyone can have idols, or like Canelo Alvarez. I look up to him as a fighter and as a man. I think he's unbelievable, but I don't know him. We're from different worlds. These people are from the same place as me. and they've achieved in this sport. So there's no reason I can't do that.
Well, last question. It's been an absolute pleasure so far. But think of this: it's Christmas time. You sat there with the family. What have you done come the end of the year? I know you've got a fight coming up in 6 weeks tomorrow, but what have you done come the end of the year?
I mean, to be honest, I'm hoping I'm away at Christmas, and I'm hoping for a little holiday. I'm hoping for a little holiday, but I just want to keep winning. I just want to keep winning, keep progressing. You know, I've been pro a year and a half. We've had 3 fights. Ideally, that would have been 5 or 6. You know, reasons out of my hands, to be honest. And some reasons, no one to blame. It's just been one of those things. So I'd like to get 2, 3 more in by end of this year. Keep busy, keep active. Next year, I really want to start pressing on, and people around here already know what I'm capable of doing. You know, they've said it for a long time, and it's always kind of been, oh yeah, he could do something. He could do something. This time next year, I want people to be like, he's a serious contender, this kid. You know, whether it's for area titles, English titles, you know, sky's the limit as long as I keep working, as long as I keep pushing and doing what I think I can do, what I know I can do. I've got a good team around me. I've got a good family, good friends around me. Keep pushing me, keep showing out and supporting me like all my friends do, you know. And I just, this time next year, I just want to be like, you know, it's time now. It's time. Let's make some serious money. Let's enjoy it. Let's look for titles, you know. But we take it one fight at a time. One fight at a time. We've got 6 weeks. 6 weeks yet for my next fight, and then we'll have a sit down. I'll have a sit down with my manager Richard, and we'll have a look what's out there after that.
Well, mate, I can't wait for it. But yeah, like I said, it's been a pleasure. I've been Lyndon Dixon. It's been Red Johnson. Like he said, he fights in 6 weeks. Keep an eye out, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for your time.